Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So it's May 9th, and we started planting soybeans about a day and a half ago. So I'm down here on my grandpa's place, and I got part of the south field done here, and it got pretty wet on those ends down there. So I stopped here in the south field, went over to the north field, got it planted all the way across to the edge of the grass here, and then that's where I quit for last night. So what I'm gonna do this morning is I'm gonna go finish up some rows in the north field, which I consider that the north field, starting over at the county line and working over this way. I'm gonna go finish those up because it starts to get wet. So we did get some rains here that we didn't get back at home, so that's why these spots are wet. So what I'm gonna do is we're supposed to have, since it's Friday, over the weekend we're supposed to have some 80-degree days and some wind. So I'm gonna leave this place go. I'm gonna go do some no-till for a while, and I'll come back to this, and I'll try to plant this after the weekend. That way I don't have to square anything off and go around the wet spots. Hopefully by the time we get them 80-degree temperatures and we get that wind, we'll dry everything up, firm it up, and I'll just go on through, not have to worry about splicing anything in. So we'll go get these finished up down here that I can plant, and then we're gonna set our down pressure springs on the planter, and we're gonna go back to doing some no-till. So I think I'm gonna go to the Sure Farm over by Round Lake and work there today. I got 90 acres I can plant there, or I might run uptown to Olson Drive and do my grandma's. I think there's 13 acres there. Might plant that. We'll see what it's like when I get over to the Sure Farm. Check that out. I'd like to do that today because that'd give me 90 acres to do. That'd keep me busy all day. So I need to get to Menards this evening and order the lumber for our garage. So not quite sure how late I'm going to work tonight. So let's get started. Let's get at it and see what we can get done. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plant over to that woods, because this is all dry ground through here. Smooth out here since we worked it. The only thing is, it is a little bit soft because we disc ripped it in the spring instead of fall. Should probably really disc rip in the fall so it's got all winter to mellow back up and firm up a little bit, because you can definitely feel where the ripper went. Turned around. It's kind of hard to hold the camera and turn around on the ends. I need to clean my windshield and my back window. It rained a little bit the other day and it was real dusty, and that dust stuck right to the wet glass. Finish this and run back to the shop, get some more beans, put in a tender, set the down pressure springs, and then we'll get started on that no-till. Well, we made it to the next farm, and we need to set our planter up for no-till. So we are north of Round Lake right now. And in fact, I made a pretty good video of mowing brush right over there on the other side of them trees. I had to mow some CRP ground with the 200 Hitachi excavator with the 72-inch diamond mower on it. Did it about 1.5 years ago. Pretty good video. So anyways, since this is no-till, this up here, the stalks aren't very heavy. Really, we could probably just get away with just planting with no down pressure, but it's when we get down into the lower areas is where we're going to deal with corn stalks. So what we got to do to set down pressure on this planter, this is John Deere row units, John Deere spring down pressure. So what we got to do is we need to move this lever to this position. But before I do that, I'll show you how this works. So right now the down pressure is unlocked and you're just relying on the weight of this row unit to cut and put the seed in the ground. Right now these arms are free floating. They're doing nothing. They have no pressure down on them. They're not pushing on the parallel links. They're just kind of riding there. So what happens when we move this lever, move this in a different position, now we can't move that. So when this goes down, those springs put pressure on this and hold this down as it goes through the field. That way, when these corn stalks go underneath these coulters, they get cut in half because they got plenty of pressure to shear them against the dirt. Cuts that, and then the disc opener comes through, pushes each half of that out of the way, makes a nice seed furrow, and then our row unit drops our soybeans, and then our closing wheels on the back pinch the trench back shut and put the dirt back around everything, and kind of like just taking your hands and patting it back in. So these wheels, their function is to hold the depth. So I got the planter set at 2 inches deep, and these won't allow it to go any deeper than 2 inches. All right, so it's pretty simple. I've already reset these, but just go through, grab these, push them there. Now some planters, they use airbags, and there's a little air compressor on board, and those airbags put the pressure on each row unit. Some planters rely on hydraulic to put pressure on the row units. Like the John Deere 750 no-till drills, the cylinders that actually raise and lower the row units, they also act as the down pressure, and there's a regulator on the hitch that you adjust according to what down pressure you want. In fact, you can put so much pressure on the row units, you can actually pick the drill up off the ground. So the joke was you could plant in concrete with them. All right, so I'm gonna reset all my springs, and then we're gonna get planting here. We'll get these ends done so I can pull in with the seed tender, and won't have to move my truck the remainder of the time. So let me get these reset. So we ended up getting some beans in bulk bags just because there was a little bit of a tote shortage, which I said is no problem. The only problem is we don't have one of them fancy bag dumpers that goes on the forks of the skid steer or bobcat in order to get these dumped. Because the problem is you can't pick them up from the bottom, so you lose that distance, and the forks won't physically go high enough to hang these above the seed tender. Where if you have that frame, you put it on your forks, and it's already this tall to the lifting points, so it makes up for that. So what we do is pretty simple. We just take our 4-part nylon strap that we use on our pontoon boat to get it in and out of the river, and we put it on the 270, and we lift the bag above the seed tender, and that's how we dump them. Pretty simple, works real good. Now if you don't have a 270 Hitachi sitting around, what you can also do, got my straps a little tangled up, you could also just lift these bags above one of the totes without the lids on it and dump the bag in the tote. So George, you want to go ahead and lift that up there for me, and I'll get it opened up and we'll get the beans going in the tender. So you want to be gentle with the bags. You don't want to jerk them too hard. You don't want to accidentally rip one. 270's plenty excavator to lift that up here. No problem for it. So I'll need both hands to open it up. That'll do, George. Thank you. it one-handed. Filled up. We're working on our end rows right now. I cleaned the back window so it wasn't so dirty. Everything's looking good so far. Surprised I was able to get my first round through this low spot down here. Well, first pass through there, not round. This will make it my first round. But usually that's pretty soft muck down there. And don't mind not following the marker track. I'm trying to straighten things out a little bit. There's a few imperfections in that ditch bank I had to go around, so getting it straightened back out. So there will be a little overlap, but that's all right, just soybeans. But usually this corner is pretty soft, and I made it through there. Secret is I didn't lift the planter up. As long as it's rolling on the ground, it's got way less resistance on it. Or it floats better if it's rolling on the ground, I should say. I think we're we're just gonna curve this around. Oh yeah. I'll touch that corner up a little bit, but I didn't want to risk picking the planter up. We made it through it though. I'd like to get this whole corner planted. We try to drain it, but we can only drain so much off of this farm. So we can only get so much fall for the ditches because the Round Lake over there being dammed up. Round Lake has a floating dam. It's actually cored with foam and coated with riprap. That way it doesn't sink in the muck, but yet it does hold water back. So that foam core keeps it buoyant on the actual muck that it sits on. It's kind of an interesting deal. Then the riprap just kind of locks it all in place and keeps it from moving around. Get these ends planted. Get the rest of the field planted. Once you get in these long rows, you can actually get something done in a day's time. There's a lot of short rows up by the house and the old barn there. It just takes time to plant them. But once you get out towards the middle of the field, things get longer. Get some ground cover. Markers are not very aggressive. I had to turn them a little bit because in the disc and disc ripped ground, they dig pretty good sized trenches, and you feel those all season. And it's starting to make a little bit of a mark now. Must have been right on the corn row, just riding up on the little stumps. Field's all finished up, so now we gotta go down the road a short distance, not even 250 feet, but we have to fold our planter up in order to do so, because there's a ditch on both sides. So we got to fold up and go down the road. Steering cylinders in this tractor drive me crazy. I don't know why they didn't make them greasable. Just try to get at them again with the needle greaser and try to get some in there. we started from. That's once around the field. Well, we went to lunch and came back, and we're pulling back in the field, Dad and I and George and Dad's pickup. The DNR officer followed us in and sat at the entrance. So Dad dropped me off for the tractor, which was partway across the field over there, and he drove back over there by the DNR officer. So I'm curious to know what's going on. Kind of strange. I guess I'll have to find out, and I'll report back to you later. But it's kind of odd. I wonder what I did this time. Nothing that I can think of. Although my fishing license is expired, but I'm not fishing today, so I don't think I can be in trouble for that. Well, it turns out they weren't after me for my expired fishing license. The next field that we're going to, there was some illegal turkey hunting going on this morning. The neighbors had seen somebody try to get a turkey from the road, I guess. So they're just saying keep an eye out for anybody illegally trying to off a turkey. Which, there we go. Which I don't turkey hunt, so it was not me. I don't know who it'd be. But I'll keep an eye out when I'm over there planting. You never know, they might come back and try this evening for a turkey. strange happened a little bit ago. I was planting the ends down here in the south ends, and something was dragging between two row units. And I made a YouTube short of this. It was like a 16-inch, probably 4 or 5 inch thick chunk of asphalt, 16 inches square. And somehow it got between the gauge wheels and stood straight up and down and wedged between them. I'd take a hammer and drive it out from between them to get it out. How it went from laying flat to standing on end and wedged between the gauge wheels is beyond me. It's like a posi track rear end in a 1965 Corvette. We don't know how it works, it just does. It's one of them oddly unexplained things in the world. So I got it drove out of there and got back to planting. Yesterday was pretty interesting. I had a tree root get up in a row unit, and these row units, they are the radial beam meters, and they're adjustable. The hub threads in and out on the shaft. Well, when that root got in there, it broke the roll pin in that hub because it wrapped around it tight and stopped the row unit. It broke that roll pin, threaded that hub in tight, and drew the bean cup itself into the aluminum body of the seed meter, and it stopped that row dead in its tracks. How that root got poked up in there is beyond me. That was another strange one. So I got it out, took it back to the truck, got the row unit all straightened back out, readjusted, went back to planting. I didn't have a roll pin to put back in it, so I just put a cotter pin in it, which will work just fine. Just had a lot of odd things happen so far this planting season. But that's what makes it fun. I poked that tree root in the toolbar of the planter just for a keepsake, because I still can't figure out how it got up in there. It had to follow the gauge wheel around somehow, and when it flipped up in, the roots must have just got caught just right in the seed shaft, and it sucked it up in and rolled it up in there. Luckily, it didn't break anything to the point where I couldn't plant, because I don't keep radial bean meter parts in stock other than their little drive clutches and the actual brushes. I don't keep any of the plastic hubs or anything like that. I probably should. I need to get a hold of Drew Swanson and just see if he can find me a couple complete radial bean meters just to keep them in the truck. I'll just swap out the whole meter out of the bottom of the box. Take this evening off and run up to Menards. You get the lumber ordered for the garage. I was supposed to do it last night. Didn't end up doing it. I just stayed planting. I thought I would just wait till it rained again, but the guy that wants to build my garage, he wants to get going on it. A little rough out here, and I want to get it done too, just get it out of the way. If I get the garage done, then I can take some stuff out of my shop and have more shop space. What I'll probably do is just keep my pickups outside. Put my side-by-side in the garage, stick my utility tractor in there. It's kind of nice because we went 30 by 30 with the garage, so it's bigger than a normal size garage. So we got some more room to put some more things. goes to Costco, she can fill the garage. I don't even know if she has a Costco membership anymore. I have to find out. I guess they were selling engine oil really cheap not too long ago. Probably should get another Costco membership. I do like going there. Oh boy. What do we got going on there? Rock. I'll go get that. Well, got that rock picked up. Actually got an old gravel pit on it. There are quite a few rocks on it. That's why it don't get tilled much. Alright, I'm gonna keep planting, see what we can get done. Well, I got quite a bit done, but I'm going to take off early and head to Menards. Try to make sure I catch somebody that's good at their job at the customer service desk in the lumber department. You know, if you go in there too late, sometimes you get somebody that doesn't quite know exactly what you're after. It's just easier if you can find somebody that's got a lot of knowledge in the lumber department. So I'll go do that, and I might come back later and plant some more. We'll see how it goes. Well, good morning. It's May 10th. Last night we left off. We were going to go to Menards and get our lumber ordered for the garage. Got that all ordered. That's going to be here next week. The only thing is the trusses are going to take about 3 to 4 weeks to get. So it's going to be a little bit yet before we get a garage. So anyways, this morning while I was waiting on a friend of mine and a viewer of the channel, I decided to throw some straw down in the temporary dog pen so that the grass will start to grow, and that straw will hold the moisture down on the grass seed that we planted. So it'll also keep the dogs out of the dirt, right, Hank? Yeah, Asher's not so bad, but Hank there, he's kind of a menace. He was digging holes and getting all dirty, and Asher just comes out here and just lays in the dirt and absorbs the sun. But I just hope that straw don't make my wiener itchy. My wiener dog, that is. But anyways, I'm going to go put the 1025R back in the shop. I used it to carry some bales of straw over. And I'm going to show you what my viewer Ted made me. It's really cool. It's a housewarming gift. And him and his wife brought it, and I really appreciate it. It's going to look really cool out in the landscaping with a light on it. I think it's just the greatest thing ever. So we'll run to the shop, look at that, and then we're going to go plant some more beans. We're going to finish the farm we're on, and then I'm going to unhook the 1780 bean planter and hook up to the soil finisher and go work some ground for Dad to plant with corn. So we did get started planting corn yesterday. Dad is finishing up the home place there this morning, and then we're going to work some more ground for him, and then we'll get him back planting probably Monday, and then I'll head back down to my grandpa's and try to plant the rest of that. So let's go see what Ted made us. It's pretty cool. So here's what Ted made. Check this thing out. It says, "Welcome to Shannon Farm." It's got a tractor there. It's got a cow there. He handmade all this. He cut it all out with plasma cutter, used stencils to make it. Definitely a cool piece. I think I'm gonna put it out there in front of the house by the driveway, do some landscaping around it, put a light behind it or in front of it, whichever looks best. And that'll be the first thing you see when you drive up the driveway. So thank you, Ted. I really appreciate this. This is definitely cool. It's definitely a great housewarming gift. I really like it. So something else viewers sent, Gene, our viewer Gene, has been with us, well, I think almost since I started the channel. He made me this nice little key rack right here. Took one of my decals and polyurethaned it over this nice piece of wood and got this nice hanger there. I really like that, Gene. Thank you. It's been pretty handy for keys that of stuff I got sitting out here. I bring them in, put the keys on there, or just other odds and ends of things that I want to keep track of. It's worked out real good, so thank you. I like it. All right, we're going to head to the field and get some beans planted. Almost forgot the most important thing, my all-dressed chips. Now we can head to the field. Dirt Perfect thought I was Canadian. I might be with these all-dressed chips. Well, so far so good this morning, other than this spot right here. I have to stay out of that low spot until it dries out a little bit. My windshield started making a squeaking sound. It's time to go around the rubbers of WD-40. When that starts to do that, if you go all the way around the windshield on the outside, it'll quit doing it. But yeah, that's pretty wet over there. We're just gonna stay out of that for now. Also found me a deer antler. Luckily it wasn't in a tire. That's a big one. So this farm's finished, other than them wet spots I couldn't get through on that side of the ditch and then on this side of the ditch. So I've got the planter folded up. I'm gonna head back to the shop. I'm gonna get Dad. It is his birthday today. May 10th is his birthday, so he's 60 years old today. So happy birthday, Dad. Thank you for everything. Thank you for making me the man that I am and letting me watch you do it and learn alongside you. So if it wasn't for Dad, I wouldn't know 3/4 of the stuff that I know. He's taught me a lot over the years. So him and I think Madison might go with, we're going to run to Valpo real quick, and we're going to pick up a 3-bottom John Deere plow that I bought a couple weeks ago, and the guy was nice enough to let me leave it there until I had time to come get it. So we're going to go grab it. It is a large tail wheel. I believe it's a 620, just like the one that Dad pulls behind his 720. He's got a 620H with the large tail wheel, but his is a 4-bottom. This is only a 3-bottom, so it'll go great behind my 620. And I've been really wanting one with a large tail wheel in the back, and this one just popped up. Madison's like, you better buy it, you might not see another one. So I went ahead and made a deal with the guy, and now we're going to go get it. So been looking forward to getting it and bringing it home. It's probably going to need some work. I know it needs paint, but it looks to be a nice plow. So let's go get that, and when we get back, we'll unhook this planter and go back to tillage work. Well, I got the planter unhooked, I got the disc hooked up, decided to just put it on the 9300. I asked Dad, I said, well, why do you want to switch them? He's like, well, I guess I didn't think about it. He's like, just go ahead and put it on 9300. So, got the 496 disc. There's the plow that we went to get. Not a bad plow. The bones are good, it's just a little ugly. Wearable items are wore off, but hey, I'll take anything I can get. So that'd be another project plow, and if not, it'll be parts for another one to fix it. Another one that could be fixed. So I always try to get all of them that I can get. All right, I'm gonna go get some fuel, and we're gonna head to the field. Well, I got a good start disking this afternoon. I ended up going back to that field that in the last video we left it half and half. I was gonna kind of just do an experiment of leaving part of it no-till and part of it tilled. But then I thought, well, better go back and work it all, because the problem is it's not a straight line through the field, it's at an angle, and we plant straight. So the problem's going to come in. We need down pressure in the corn stalk areas, and we don't need any down pressure in just the tilled area. So we're just going leaving your down pressure set, the ground's fluffy from working it, and it'll actually start to push dirt in front of the gauge wheels if you have down pressure on. So that's why I have to get rid of the down pressure when I go to tilt ground. Or it'll ridge real bad between the rows. Side-by-side comparison, because there is a ditch that runs through that farm. It splits it in the middle, so we'll be able to look on one side or the other of the ditch to see no tilled versus tilt ground. This is working up real nice. Did ask me, he said, I thought that you said last harvest you were going to go all corn next year, no soybeans. Well, that really wasn't set in stone. That was kind of just one of my thoughts. But due to the high input costs this year, we're not going to be able to go all corn. It would just be astronomically expensive. So that's why we're still got to throw some soybeans in the mix. I should just turn right around and went the other way. That's all right. Squeaky steering cylinders. So with this year, with the inputs as high as they are, a soybean crop is cheaper than a corn crop. So that's why we're doing it. I mean, right now, anhydrous is like $750 a ton. So it's up there. You need way less inputs for soybeans. The herbicides are cheaper for them. The fertilizer's cheaper. No anhydrous is required for them. So that's the reasoning behind that. Plus, I want to cut some beans next fall with the L2 number 1. I got another parts machine coming that I'm gonna pull the hydrostat out of. Put that in cleaner L2 number 1. That's the one with the junk hydrostat in it. Get that swapped out. I'm going to do some other things to it. I actually want to go through all 3 cleaners. I want to get the one steel tracks fixed up. The M3's got some issues I want to fix. Got a lot of things I want to do this summer. Number 1 is the light situation. I want to get some rewiring done. I added the bar lights across the roof, and that was too much of a draw for the old switches in the cab, and it caused issues. And I got wires twisted together to make lights work, things like that, so I want to redo all that. So gonna buy one of the switch panels like we use in the side-by-sides and actually use that and have push buttons for the lights. Then come with a really nice like a fuse box with relays in it. You hardwire that to the battery and then you run all your lighting off of that and other accessories. So make for some painless wiring is what they do. And you don't have to worry about it. Alright, I'm going to keep disking and see how far I can get tonight. Well, I moved to the next farm, got started here. This is muck ground. It's really soft. And it's a little wetter than I thought it would be. So we're going to lightly disc it, get the top broke up. It's supposed to be 80 degrees tomorrow and windy. So hopefully that'll suck some of the moisture out of the top 6 inches and firm it up. And we'll run the soil finisher over it and hopefully be able to plant it. There's some spots that I spin getting through, but I get through them and I get a disc, so those will really benefit. Tractor gets a little squirmy. That's why I'm not the straightest. Sun's gonna be right in the camera view, I guarantee it. That's not too bad. Hit this with the soil finisher Monday morning and plant it Monday afternoon. See what happens. Probably gonna go ahead and get this video edited up and get it uploaded. Start another one Monday. Working on tillage for a little bit before I go back to planting beans. I'm going to disc this farm and then I'm going to go disc my gravel pit field, what I call it, since the gravel pit's right next to it, or a old gravel pit is right next to it. That's actually the gravel pit that I've talked about before that's got the drag line in the bottom of it. The bank caved in and it fell in. And actually I might have access to it now to go check it out, because the landowner now, he inherited the ground and he's a super nice guy. He actually come and talked to me when I was planting the oats. And I thought, oh no, like, he's not going to want me to farm it anymore, but he wants me to continue farming it. He was okay with everything I do, so like, great. He even gave me some utility poles for my cattle fence that I got to build. And he wants to do some improvements around that gravel pit. He wants to take some trees out and stuff because he's going to be building a new house back there. And he asked me if I'd be interested in doing all that work for him. I'm like, oh yeah, definitely. So that gets us access into the gravel pit to see if the drag line's in there, which I've heard many stories that it is. I think Dad said he's seen the tip of the boom one time years ago. It'll be something cool to check out. Not that we're going to drag it out of there or anything, just see if we can see it in the water. Need an underwater drone. You know, ago, speaking of underwater drone, years ago when me and my friend John were in middle school, we took a webcam, we hooked it to a laptop computer that his dad had given us, and we took the webcam and we put it in a tote with a rubber seal. We glued it in there. We fastened the bricks to the tote to make it heavy, and we dropped it in the swimming pool. And we could use the camera underwater and see what was in the swimming pool. Well, we got bored with that, so we took it down to my grandma's and we put it in her pond. And it actually worked. Little did we know, we had created the first GoPro camera, and like 4 years later the GoPro camera came out. Basically our same concept, but cordless, of course, with a rechargeable battery. So I'm like, you know, if we would have taken that a little farther, we could have almost been the creators of the GoPro camera. How crazy would that have been? Should have went a little farther with it. But we got bored with it because we couldn't go any deeper because our cord wasn't long enough. And we couldn't figure out how to plug two USB cables together at the time and make it waterproof. I've created a lot of things over the years that next thing I know, somebody else is doing it. I was like, hey, I should have stayed doing that. Well, I suppose I'm going to finish disking this and probably go home and get some dinner. So that's probably a good place to end this video because this is what it's going to be the rest of the evening. So thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it. See you all in the next one. Have a good morning. Have a good evening. All depends on where you are around the world. I know we've got a lot of different viewers from a lot of different places. Starting to see that in the comments quite a bit. And I appreciate each and every one that watches. And like I've said before, I do read the comments. I try to get back to as many as I can. But when we're this busy this time of the year, it's kind of impossible. So if I see one that's super important, if it's a question that needs to be answered, I try to get after it. Excuse me. But just know that I read them and I appreciate them. And I take all the advice, all the questions, concerns, I take them seriously. So don't think that if you write a comment, I don't read it, because I do.